Hey, what's up y'all, I'm Charlie, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make my delicious New Orleans stuffed bell peppers. Now for our version of stuffed bell peppers, we only use a green bell pepper, and we make a stuffing which consists of ground beef, shrimp, ham, crab meat, butter, breadcrumbs, and my favorite blend of New Orleans seasonings. But check this out, bro. Listen. We take our shrimp heads and shells and we make a stock with that, and we add that into the dressing to give it more flavor. Like, who else does that? Only in New Orleans. Only in New Orleans. Like, we don't add rice, carrots, potatoes, tomatoes, mozzarella cheese, red, yellow, orange bell peppers. That's not what we put in our bell peppers down in New Orleans. Now, this recipe calls for about 14 to 16 medium to large size bell peppers. Not only is this a New Orleans classic to serve to your guests for the holidays, but it is absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Here is all what you will need to make your New Orleans stuffed bell peppers. Let's get started with our ingredients. For your bell peppers, you will need 7 or 8 large to medium size bell peppers. And along with that, you will need 3 pounds of ground beef, 2 pounds of fresh Louisiana shrimp, 8 ounces, that's a half a pound of diced ham, 8 ounces, that's a half a pound of crab meat, salted butter, and plain breadcrumbs. For your seasonings, you will need 1 yellow onion, celery, bell pepper, garlic, and some dried thyme. For your additional seasonings, you will need some salt, Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. Now if you don't have this, you can use a Zatarain's Creole seasoning or the Slappy Mama Creole seasoning. You will also need some Chef Paul Prudhomme's Seafood Magic, Chef Paul Prudhomme's Portrait Magic, onion powder, garlic powder, and some cayenne pepper. To bake your stuffed bell peppers, you will need an 11 by 17 inch baking pan. And there we have it. Let's get straight to it. Chop 1 yellow onion. Rinse off your celery before you chop it. Chop 4 stalks of celery. Rinse off 8 bell peppers. Make sure you remove the core out of 1 bell pepper before you chop it. Chop 1 green bell pepper. Here we have 4 cloves of garlic. Chop the garlic until it is minced. Okay, we're going to take our bell peppers and we're going to chop them in half. Now we're going to cut the core out. And you want to make sure you trim off some of the insides of the bell pepper as well. Now you're going to pull the core of the bell pepper out. Rinse off all of your bell pepper halves. Preheat your fire to medium-high heat. In a large pot, add 4 quarts of water. Let this come to a simmer. Add your bell pepper halves. Cover with lid. Let this simmer for 10 minutes. It's been about 10 minutes now, and our bell pepper halves are now done. Turn your fire off. Remove your bell pepper halves. And place them onto your baking pan. Let this cool completely. Okay, we're going to take our shrimp head and place that in one bowl, and we're going to peel the shell off of the shrimp tail and place that in one bowl, and take the shrimp tail and place that into a separate bowl. Take a sharp knife and cut out the back of the shrimp. And as you can see, there's that black string in the middle. Pull that out. Cut your shrimp tails in half. Add your shrimp tails into a strainer and rinse them with cold water. Here we have our shrimp tails, which we've cleaned, peeled, and deveined, and over here we have our shrimp heads and shells, which we're going to make a stock with. So let's get started with that. Preheat your fire to medium-high heat. In a medium-sized pot, add 5 cups of water. Add 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, 1 teaspoon of Chef Paul Prud'homme's Seafood Magic, and a 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Stir all your ingredients together. Let this come to a simmer. Add your shrimp heads and shells. Stir all your ingredients together. Let this simmer for 40 minutes. It's been about 40 minutes now, and our shrimp stock is now done. Turn your fire off. Add your shrimp stock into a mesh strainer with a medium-sized bowl underneath it. You can now discard your shrimp heads and shells. And in this bowl here we have 1.5 cups of shrimp stock, and that's all you will need to make your dressing. Preheat your fire to medium-high heat. In a large saucepan, add 3 pounds of ground beef. Give this a quick stir. Cover with lid. Let saute for 10 minutes, stirring occasionally. Now you want to make sure that you take your spatula and break down some of those larger pieces of ground beef. It's been about 10 minutes now, and our ground beef is now done. I'm going to give this a quick stir. Turn your fire off. Add your ground beef into a strainer with a pan underneath it to catch the dripping. As you can see, that's a lot of grease underneath there. Let this cool completely. Now let's make the stuffing. Preheat your fire to medium-high heat. In a large pot, add 6 tablespoons of salted butter. Spread the butter along the bottom of your pot. Let the butter melt. Now let's add some seasoning. Add 1 1/2 cups of chopped yellow onion, 3/4 cup of chopped celery, 3/4 cup of chopped green bell pepper, and 2 tablespoons of chopped garlic. Stir all your ingredients together. Let this saute for 12 minutes, stirring occasionally. Add your ground beef and a 1/2 pound of diced ham. Stir all your ingredients together. Now let's add some seasoning. Add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 1/2 teaspoons of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, 1 teaspoon of Chef Paul Prud'homme's Seafood Magic, 1 teaspoon of Chef Paul Prud'homme's Poetry Magic, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and 1 1/2 teaspoons of dried thyme. Stir all your ingredients together. Add your 2 pounds of shrimp, which we peeled, clean, and deveined, and 1/2 pound of real crab meat. Stir all your ingredients together. Cover with lid. Let saute for 5 minutes, stirring occasionally. After 5 minutes, turn your fire off. Add 1 cup of plain breadcrumbs and 3/4 cup of shrimp stock. Stir all your ingredients together. And our stuffing is now done. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Here we have 1 bell pepper half. We're going to take the stuffing and we're going to add it inside of the bell pepper. Do this as carefully as possible and make sure you fill the bell pepper a little bit past the top. Once done, you're going to take your bell pepper and place it into your baking pan. Now we're going to sprinkle a small amount of breadcrumbs right on top of each individual bell pepper. And as you can see, we filled about 14 of these bell peppers. Now before we add our stuffed peppers in the oven, I want to let you all know that the baking process will not overcook the shrimp, diced ham, ground beef, or even dry out the dressing itself. I've been making stuffed bell peppers for years. Now watch the cook work his magic. Place these into a preheated 350 degree oven. Bake for 30 minutes. Now I'm going to set my timer to 30 minutes. Alright, time is up. Remove your stuffed bell peppers out of the oven after baking on 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Alright, here I have some melted salted butter in a pastry brush. Now as a final garnish, I'm going to lightly brush each bell pepper off with butter. Let the bell peppers cool for 10 minutes before serving. For best results, serve this the next day. That way the flavors can settle and increase. And you can also make these weeks in advance. To store your bell peppers, place them into a baking pan. Cover the pan with aluminum foil, and they should hold in your fridge for about 4 days. To freeze your bell peppers, individually wrap each bell pepper with aluminum foil. Make sure you wrap it good. Place it into a freezer bag or a vacuum sealer bag, and you could vacuum seal it if you like, and this will hold in your freezer for 6 months. You can have these stuffed bell peppers all year long. Here is the final presentation. Look at how good that looks. And there you have it. New Orleans stuffed bell peppers, made by a New Orleans native. If you like my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button if you want to be notified of my videos. You can also check out this recipe along with all of my other recipes at www.charliethecookandrews.com. You can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram under the name Charlie the Cook Andrews. Stay tuned as Charlie's Taste Test is coming up next. Now it's time for Charlie's Taste Test. Let me show y'all how to eat a real bell pepper. Say, bruh, I'm telling y'all, you could taste that shrimp flavor that you're not gonna get nowhere else other than New Orleans. You got the flavors from the ground beef, the ham, the crab meat, and those seasonings, and got a little spice to it. Damn good. I mean, oh man. I mean, when I bit into the bell pepper, I mean, the dressing was so juicy and the bell pepper was so juicy that it was literally like, Personally, I think that New Orleans has the best bell peppers ever. I mean, oh man, I love my city, man, especially the food. Ooh. I'm telling y'all, try the recipe. Nobody don't do it like New Orleans. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. So until next time, take care, and I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.